If you were menstruating in ancient Rome, men believed you could kill bees. They believed you could spoil wine. They believed you could destroy crops. They even believed you could blunt the edge of a steel blade. You did not need poison. You did not need magic. You only needed to be near them. These claims were not merely whispered in a tavern. They were written down by Pliny the Elder. Pliny was one of the Roman Empire's most famous authors. He collected stories about nature, medicine, animals, farming, and strange phenomena. His books helped shape what educated Romans believed about the world. That made his words powerful. It also made his mistakes dangerous. The strangest part was not that Roman men feared menstrual blood. They also believed menstrual blood could heal disease. They believed it could protect fields from insects. They believed it could stop forces that ordinary weapons could not defeat. The same blood was described as both destructive and protective. The same woman could be treated as both polluted and powerful. The real mystery was why her body inspired so much fear. The answer begins with the people who controlled the written record. Most ancient women did not leave written accounts of their own periods. Most surviving explanations were recorded by educated men. Those men were priests, physicians, philosophers, lawmakers, and encyclopedists. Their writings do not reveal what every ancient man believed. Their writings reveal what powerful men chose to record and repeat. That difference changes the entire story. Imagine entering the Roman Empire during the 1st century. A wealthy reader opens a massive encyclopedia called Natural History. The author is Pliny the Elder. Pliny is a military commander, government official, and obsessive collector of information. He gathers direct observations beside rumours and superstition. He places medical remedies beside magical claims. He records farmers' stories beside philosophical ideas. His world does not separate science from folklore in the way modern society tries to separate them. A respected author gains authority by collecting knowledge. He does not always gain authority by testing every claim. Once a rumour enters an important book, it begins to look like established truth. Pliny describes menstrual blood as a force capable of damaging the natural world. He claims it can ruin young wine. He claims it can make fruit fall from trees. He claims it can destroy grafted plants. He claims it can dry seeds before they grow. He claims it can kill bees. He claims it can cloud polished ivory. He claims it can corrode bronze and iron. He claims it can make a steel blade lose its edge. The menstruating woman begins to sound like a walking natural disaster. Yet Pliny also records the opposite idea. He claims a menstruating woman can protect a field from pests. He says her presence can drive away caterpillars. He says her presence can drive away worms. He says her presence can drive away beetles. The blood that supposedly destroys the harvest can also save it. This contradiction reveals something important. Ancient fear was not always fear of weakness. Ancient fear was often fear of unpredictable power. Menstrual blood seemed invisible, mysterious, and impossible to control. That imagined power made the menstruating woman frightening to some men. Now imagine travelling backward to classical Greece. A woman enters a small room to speak with a male physician. She describes pain, dizziness, irregular bleeding, infertility, or a missed period. The physician does not understand hormones. He cannot see ovulation. He does not understand the uterine lining. He does not understand the modern circulation of blood. He still needs to explain what is happening. He builds an explanation from the medical ideas available to him. The Hippocratic Corpus is a collection of ancient Greek medical writings. It was created by several authors over many years. It was not written by one man named Hippocrates. Some of these writings describe the female body as softer than the male body. Some describe the female body as wetter than the male body. Some describe the female body as more porous than the male body. These writers believed the female body absorbed more fluid. They believed the excess fluid had to leave the body as menstrual blood. Regular bleeding could therefore be interpreted as a healthy release. A missed period could be interpreted as a serious danger. This is one of the most surprising ideas in ancient medicine. Some Greek physicians feared the absence of menstruation more than menstruation itself. They believed trapped blood could travel through the body. They believed trapped blood could cause pain. They believed trapped blood could cause fever. They believed trapped blood could cause choking. They believed trapped blood could cause confusion. They believed trapped blood could even disturb the mind. The female body was imagined as a container that needed to be drained. A normal biological variation could therefore become a medical emergency. Pregnancy could be misunderstood through this theory. Malnutrition could be misunderstood through this theory. Stress could be misunderstood through this theory. Disease could also be misunderstood through this theory. Historian Helen King studied how these medical ideas were connected to wider Greek beliefs about women. Classicist Leslie Dean Jones studied how menstruation shaped Greek ideas about the female body. Scholar Anne Ellis Hansen translated and examined ancient gynecological writings. Their work reveals both the detail and the prejudice inside ancient medicine. The prejudice did not remain inside the treatment room. The male body was often treated as the normal body. The female body became the unusual body that required explanation. Menstruation was then used as evidence that women were physically unstable. Menstruation was also used as evidence that women were naturally different from men. A theory about blood slowly became a theory about social authority. Aristotle pushed this argument even further. Aristotle believed menstrual blood provided the raw material for an embryo. He believed male semen provided the organizing force that shaped the embryo. The woman supposedly provided the substance. The man supposedly provided the design. This was not modern embryology. This was philosophy presented as biology. The theory placed the male contribution above the female contribution. The theory also reflected the male hierarchy of Greek society. A society dominated by men described nature in a way that also placed men above women. Ancient medicine was not one single belief system. Different physicians disagreed with one another. Cyrannus of Ephesus criticized several dramatic treatments used by earlier doctors. Cyrannus rejected the idea that the womb wandered freely around the body. He treated women's health more practically than many earlier writers. His knowledge was still limited by ancient anatomy. His disagreement proves that ancient men did not all think the same way. Pliny did not speak for every Roman. Aristotle did not speak for every Greek. A physician did not speak for every household. A written claim did not automatically become a universal belief. Now move from ancient medicine to ancient religion. Imagine entering an Israelite community, governed by rules of ritual purity. The book of Leviticus describes menstruation as a temporary state of ritual impurity. A menstruating woman can transmit that ritual state through physical contact. Objects she lies on can become ritually impure. Objects she sits on can also become ritually impure. A person who touches those objects must wash. That person must also wait until evening before returning to a pure state. The English word unclean can sound like dirty or sinful. Ritual impurity was not identical to moral guilt. Semen could create temporary ritual impurity. Childbirth could create temporary ritual impurity. Certain skin conditions could create temporary ritual impurity. Contact with a corpse could also create temporary ritual impurity. These rules created boundaries around sacred space. These rules also created boundaries around bodily fluids. These rules connected reproduction with ideas about life and death. The practical burden did not fall equally on everyone. A menstruating woman could face restrictions on movement. She could face restrictions on physical contact. She could face restrictions on sexual activity. She could face restrictions on access to sacred spaces. Men often controlled the institutions that interpreted these rules. A temporary ritual condition could therefore become a lasting social stigma. The deeper fear may not have been the blood itself. The deeper fear may have been a body that followed its own cycle. That cycle could not be commanded by a husband. That cycle could not be commanded by a priest. That cycle could not be commanded by a physician. The mystery becomes even more complicated in ancient Egypt. Imagine the village of Deir el-Medina near the Valley of the Kings. Skilled workers live there while building royal tombs. They record daily events on broken pottery and flakes of limestone. These written fragments are called ostraca. Some ostraca record which workers missed work. Some ostraca also record why those workers were absent. One attendance record comes from the reign of Ramesses II. The record provides a rare glimpse of ordinary life. Some disputed entries may describe men staying home because a wife or daughter was menstruating. Egyptologist Terry G. Wilfong studied one important document called Ostracon OIM 13512. Scholar Paul John Franson examined the wider question of menstrual taboos in ancient Egypt. The evidence does not provide one simple answer. A man may have stayed home because a woman needed help. A man may have stayed home because household work had to be replaced. A man may have stayed home because ritual practice affected the family. A man may also have stayed home because the woman was separated from normal activity. The uncertainty creates another important reveal. Menstruation may not only have changed what women could do, menstruation may also have changed what men had to do. Imagine a tomb worker preparing to leave before sunrise. His tools are ready. His crew expect him. Something inside his home changes the plan. His wife may be resting. His daughter may need care. He may need to grind grain. He may need to collect water. He may need to watch the children. He may need to complete work normally performed by someone else. A scribe records only a few words about his absence. More than 3,000 years later, those words still refuse to explain themselves completely. This is why ancient men did not hold one single opinion about menstruation. A Roman encyclopedist could describe menstrual blood as destructive. A Greek physician could describe menstruation as a necessary release. A philosopher could use menstruation to rank women below men. A religious legal tradition could describe menstruation as temporary ritual impurity. An Egyptian work record could reveal a household reorganizing around it. Fear existed beside fascination. Ignorance existed beside practical knowledge. Dependence existed beside restriction. Ancient women were not passive objects inside male theories. They managed bleeding with cloth. They managed bleeding with wool. They used washing and household routines. They shared knowledge between generations. They recognized patterns in their own bodies. They described symptoms to physicians. They rejected treatments that did not make sense. They knew things about their own bodies that male writers did not know. The surviving written record is dominated by male voices. Lived experience was not dominated by male voices in the same way. This silence creates one final trap for modern viewers. One spectacular claim can be mistaken for the belief of an entire civilization. Pliny can become every Roman. Aristotle can become every Greek. A legal text can become the private belief of every husband. History is more complicated than the loudest surviving voice. Modern biology explains menstruation without poisoned dogs. Modern biology explains menstruation without wandering wombs. Modern biology explains menstruation without dying bees. Modern biology explains menstruation without damaged steel. Hormonal changes prepare the lining of the uterus for a possible pregnancy. When pregnancy does not occur, much of that lining is shed. The process can involve pain. The process can involve fatigue. The process can involve heavy bleeding. The process can also involve real medical conditions. The process is not supernatural contamination. The ancient story has not completely disappeared. Words like impurity still shape how menstruation is discussed. Words like danger still shape how menstruation is discussed. Words like weakness still shape how menstruation is discussed. Silence still makes ordinary biology feel secret. Embarrassment still protects myths from examination. Return now to ancient Rome. A menstruating woman walks past a vineyard. The wine does not turn sour. The bees do not die. The crops do not collapse. The steel does not lose its edge. The dangerous force was never the blood. The dangerous force was the belief created around the blood. Powerful men gave that fear a scientific name. Powerful men recorded that fear as knowledge. Powerful men repeated that fear for generations. The belief became more dangerous than anything menstrual blood was ever accused of doing. Ancient men did not truly need to fear the blood. Ancient men feared what they could not understand. Ancient men feared what they could not control. Ancient men feared the meaning they had created around the female body.